Have you ever been in a conversation with a friend, and they're talking about their childhood, and you just have this moment where you realize your normal was completely different from their normal? That your first instincts in a situation are the exact opposite of theirs? Maybe you apologize constantly, or you can walk into a room and instantly feel the tension, or you have this voice in your head that critiques your every move. For the longest time, I thought these were just my personal flaws, things I needed to fix about myself. But what if I told you that if you were raised by a narcissistic parent, these aren't flaws at all? They are actually incredible, ingenious survival skills you developed as a kid to navigate a world that felt unpredictable and unsafe. In this video, we're not going to dwell on the past pain. Instead, we're going to gently uncover and name those unusual traits you might carry. Because understanding why they're there is the most powerful step toward reclaiming your power and deciding what to keep and what to finally let go. We'll walk through the most common ones together, and I have a feeling you're going to see yourself in more than a few. Trait 1. Hypervigilance / the human radar. Let's talk about that feeling of walking into a room and, in a split second, knowing exactly what everyone is feeling. It's not a conscious thought process, it's a flood of data. You notice the slight tension around your friend's eyes, the half-a-tone shift in your partner's hello, the way a coworker is sitting just a little too still. Your mind instantly starts connecting the dots, running scenarios. Are they upset with me? Did something happen? What do I need to do to make sure everything is okay? If this is your normal, you might not even realize that other people don't experience the world this way. They walk into a coffee shop and just see people drinking coffee. You walk in and unconsciously note the stressed barista, the couple having a tense conversation in the corner, the person who looks lonely by the window. It's like you're constantly scanning the horizon for storms, even on sunny days. This isn't a random anxiety you were born with. This is your brilliant, survival-oriented brain that learned its most important job early on, predicting the weather at home. For a child with a narcissistic parent, a parent's mood wasn't just a mood, it was the determining factor between a peaceful day and a chaotic, scary, or painful one. Was mom going to be the fun, loving mom today, or the critical, rageful one? You became a master meteorologist of human emotion because your emotional safety depended on it. You learned to spot the micro-expressions, the clenched jaw, the cold stare, that were the warning signs before the storm hit. This skill was nothing less than a shield. And here's the beautiful part of this trait. It makes you incredibly empathetic and perceptive. You have a deep, almost intuitive understanding of people's unspoken pain and joy. You're the friend people come to because they say, "You just get me." You can sit with someone in their sadness without needing to fix it because you truly feel it with them. This deep connection to the emotional undercurrents of life is a genuine superpower. But let's be real about the cost. Living with this radar always on is utterly exhausting. Your nervous system is in a near-constant state of low-grade alarm, ready to respond to a threat that, in your adult life, probably isn't even there. You might find social gatherings draining because you're not just socializing, you're managing the emotional equilibrium of the entire room. It can lead to anxiety, trouble relaxing, and a feeling of being permanently on, even when you're safe and loved. The hardest part is learning to tell your nervous system, "Thank you for the warning. I've got this now. You can stand down." Trait 2. The chameleon effect. Now, let's explore another common survival skill, the art of blending in. This is the ability to subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, shift your personality, your opinions, even your interests to match the person you're with. It's like you have a mental wardrobe of selves, and you instinctively pick the one that will best fit the situation. With one group of friends, you're the adventurous one. With another, you're the quiet listener. At work, you're the confident expert. On a date, You might find yourself mirroring their hobbies and passions so seamlessly it feels automatic. This chameleon effect stems from a deep, childhood-learned lesson that your authentic self was not enough, and worse, that it was often a target for criticism, dismissal, or rejection. Maybe you loved painting, but were told it was a waste of time. Perhaps you were excited about a book, only to be mocked for your taste. Or maybe showing sadness or anger triggered a punitive response. So, you learned the safest way to get the love and approval every child craves was to become what the parent wanted you to be. You became a mirror, reflecting back whatever version of a good daughter would keep you safe and, if you were lucky, earn a moment of praise. The pro of this is an incredible social adaptability. You can get along with almost anyone. You're often described as pleasant, easy to talk to, and a great listener. In professional settings, this can look like high emotional intelligence and an ability to network effectively. It's a skill that makes you highly likable because people see a reflection of themselves in you, and that feels good. The devastating con, however, is a slow and quiet loss of your own identity. When you spend a lifetime reflecting others, you can lose the signal of your own inner voice. You might leave a conversation and think, wait, do I actually agree with what I just said? Or, do I even like this band? Or, did I just say I did because they did? Big life questions. What do I want to do for a career? What are my core values? What do I enjoy doing on a Saturday? Can feel terrifyingly blank. This isn't a lack of a self. It's a self that was asked to go into hiding so long ago for its own protection. The healing journey involves gently inviting that authentic self back out into the light, reassuring her that she is safe, welcome, and more than enough, exactly as she is. Trait 3. Crippling perfectionism. For many of us, the drive to be perfect isn't about ambition, it's about safety. It's the deeply held belief that a single mistake, a minor flaw, or a moment of average performance will open the door to judgment, disappointment, or outright rejection. It's the feeling that your worth is not inherent but is a reward you must constantly earn through flawless execution. An A is a failure. A project with one tiny error is ruined. A slightly messy house feels like a moral indictment. It's an exhausting, relentless way to move through the world. This wiring didn't come from nowhere. It was carefully installed in childhood, where love and positive attention were treated not as a birthright, but as a currency. Praise was withheld until you achieved something impressive. Your value in the family might have been tied to being the golden child, whose accomplishments made your parent look good. Conversely, mistakes weren't seen as learning opportunities. They were character flaws, met with criticism, coldness, or rage. You learned the equation early on. Perfect equals safe and, conditionally, loved. Imperfect equals unsafe and rejected. Your brain, trying to protect you, decided that perfection was the only acceptable standard to ensure your emotional survival. There's a reason this trait is so tricky. It does have a payoff. This drive can lead to incredible high achievement. You might excel academically, in your career, or in your hobbies. You develop a strong work ethic and a keen eye for detail. The world often rewards this output with accolades and promotions, which can feel, for a moment, like the validation you've always craved. It reinforces the idea that this punishing standard is what makes you valuable. But the cost is immense. This isn't healthy striving, it's a prison. The fear of not being perfect often leads to intense procrastination. If you can't start a task, you can't fail at it. It leads to burnout as you push yourself past human limits. It can make you hesitant to try new things because being a beginner means being bad at something, which is intolerable. The cruelest part is that no achievement ever feels like enough. There's always another goalpost, another level to reach. The internal report card never gives an A+. It just highlights the one question you got wrong. You achieve and achieve, waiting for a feeling of enoughness that never comes, because the goal was never about the achievement itself. It was about earning a sense of safety that can only truly come from within. Trait 4. A deeply internalized critical inner voice. Imagine having a commentator in your head, narrating your every move, but this commentator is cruel, nitpicky, and never, ever satisfied. That's the critical inner voice. It's the running monologue that says, "Why did you say it like that? You sounded so stupid," or "They probably only invited you out of pity," or "You should have worked longer, tried harder, been better." For those who grew up with narcissistic parents, this voice is so constant and familiar it can feel like your own thoughts. But it's not. It's an echo. This voice is the internalized recording of your critical parent or parents. When you are constantly criticized, judged, and made to feel you are not enough as a child, your psyche does something to cope. It takes in that critical voice and makes it your own. But on a subconscious level, it can feel safer to believe you are the problem. If the fault lies with you and your inadequacy, then the world makes sense. It means your caregivers were right and there's a formula to fix it, be perfect, try harder. The terrifying alternative for a child is to believe that the very people who are supposed to love and protect you are fundamentally unreliable or cruel. So, the child's mind chooses, "I am bad," is a safer thought than "my parents are unsafe." It's important to be clear, this trait has no real pro. It was a survival mechanism, a way to make sense of a confusing and painful world, but it is not a strength. Its only function was to create a twisted sense of control in an uncontrollable environment. The impact of living with this internal critic is devastating. It systematically erodes your self-esteem, creating a foundation of self-doubt and shame. It second-guesses your decisions, robs you of joy in your accomplishments, and makes you hypersensitive to any external feedback, often hearing criticism even when none is intended. It's the engine behind the perfectionism, the people-pleasing, and the anxiety. This voice keeps you small, quiet, and manageable, which is exactly what the original critical parent needed you to be. Healing involves the profound work of first recognizing that this voice is not the truth, but a painful relic from the past. It's about learning to separate from that critical narrator and slowly, patiently, beginning to write a new, kinder story about who you are. Trait 5. Extreme self-reliance/difficulty receiving help. There's a powerful mantra that lives deep within you. If it's to be, it's up to me. You operate from the unshakable belief that you must handle everything yourself. Asking for help isn't just difficult. It feels fundamentally wrong, like a violation of a core rule for survival. Whether it's moving apartments, dealing with a personal crisis, or simply struggling with a work project, the thought of reaching out feels foreign and deeply uncomfortable. You'd rather struggle in silence, even to the point of exhaustion, than risk the vulnerability of needing someone. This isn't a personality quirk, it's a learned strategy for safety. For a child of a narcissistic parent, depending on others was often an unreliable or outright dangerous prospect. Your needs might have been dismissed as a burden. Requests for help could have been met with resentment, sighing, or a lecture about how difficult you were. In some cases, accepting help came with invisible strings attached, a debt that would be held over your head or used to manipulate you later. You learned, through painful experience, that the only person you could truly count on was yourself. This self-reliance was your armor. It was how you ensured things got done without being made to feel guilty, small, or indebted. The incredible pro of this trait is the profound resilience and capability it forged within you. You are incredibly strong, resourceful, and competent. You know how to solve problems, how to navigate difficult situations alone, and how to stand on your own 2 feet. There is a deep, quiet pride that comes from knowing you can handle what life throws at you. This strength is real and is a testament to your spirit. The heartbreaking con, however, is the isolation that comes with it. This level of self-reliance walls you off from the very things that make us human: connection, interdependence, and mutual support. It leads to burnout because you are carrying weights designed for multiple people. It can also create a barrier in intimate relationships. Partnership requires vulnerability and allowing another person to be strong for you sometimes. When you refuse all help, you unintentionally send a message to others that they are not needed or trusted, preventing relationships from deepening into the truly intimate, two-way streets they are meant to be. Trait 6. Inappropriate sense of responsibility. Do you find yourself constantly apologizing? For things that aren't your fault? For other people's moods? For simply taking up space? Do you feel an overwhelming sense of responsibility for how the people around you feel? If a friend is upset, you immediately assume you did something wrong and scramble to fix it. If a partner is stressed, you feel it's your job to soothe them. You walk on eggshells, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you feel it's your duty to manage the emotional environment for everyone. This trait stems from a role reversal in childhood known as parentification. Instead of having your own emotions held and validated by a caregiver, you were forced to become the caregiver. You were expected to manage your parents' emotions, soothe their anger, validate their insecurities, and provide them with the emotional support they should have been providing you. You learned that your parents' happiness was your job, and their unhappiness was your failure. Your worth became tied to your ability to anticipate needs, avoid triggers, and keep the peace at all costs. The beautiful pro here is that it shaped you into an exceptionally caring, conscientious, and attentive person. You are the person everyone calls in a crisis because you are nurturing and deeply empathetic. You have a strong moral compass and a genuine desire to help others and alleviate suffering. The damaging con is that this wiring leads directly to guilt, anxiety, and people-pleasing. You take on burdens that are not yours to carry, leaving you emotionally drained and resentful. It makes you highly susceptible to manipulation, as toxic people can easily use your sense of responsibility against you. Most painfully, it means you have likely neglected the one person you are truly responsible for, yourself. You've been so busy caring for everyone else that you may have forgotten how to listen to and honor your own needs and feelings. Trait 7. A sixth sense for inauthenticity. You can walk into a party or a meeting and within minutes, sometimes seconds, get a gut feeling about someone. You can't always explain it, but you can spot a liar, a manipulator, or someone who is wearing a social mask from a mile away. You sense the slight mismatch between their words and their energy, the practiced charm that doesn't reach the eyes, the subtle attempt to triangulate or gain favor. While others might be taken in by a smooth talker, your internal alarms are blaring. This isn't paranoia, it's a highly honed and expert skill. You spent your most formative years immersed in a masterclass on narcissistic behavior. Your survival depended on your ability to accurately read the subtext, to detect the subtle shifts that signaled a change in mood or intention. You learned to identify manipulation tactics, love bombing, gaslighting, guilt tripping, because you experienced them firsthand. Your brain became a supercomputer for detecting inauthenticity as a primary defense mechanism. It's your internal guardian. The powerful pro of this trait is that it is an incredible gift of protection. It acts as a built-in toxic person filter, keeping you safe from relationships that would repeat the dynamics of your past. It allows you to navigate the world with a layer of discernment that others lack, helping you curate a circle of genuinely safe and authentic people. The challenging con is that this hypervigilant radar can sometimes misfire. It can lead to a tendency toward cynicism, making it hard to trust people's genuine kindness or intentions. Sometimes, you might mistake a person's social anxiety or awkwardness for being fake, or perceive a well-meaning comment as a subtle jab. The very tool that protects you can sometimes wall you off from potential connections with good people who are just a little imperfect. because your system is calibrated to detect the slightest hint of danger. The healing journey involves learning to trust this intuition while also giving new people a measured chance to prove their authenticity, so your guardian doesn't become your jailer. If you've been listening and seen your own reflection in these traits, your heart might feel heavy. It can be overwhelming to see these patterns laid out so clearly. So before we go any further, I need you to hear this, and I need you to try and let it land. You are not broken. You are not weird or flawed or too much. You are a survivor. Every one of these traits was a brilliant, creative, and necessary adaptation crafted by the child you once were to navigate an environment that was unpredictable, unsafe, or lacking in the unconditional love every child deserves. They weren't choices, they were defenses. They were the tools you used to build a fortress around your heart so you could make it through. But here's the most important part of this entire journey. That same child who built those walls is not the one who has to live within them today. You are now an adult. You have resources, autonomy, and a perspective that your younger self could only dream of. The environment has changed, but many of us are still running the same old software, designed for a war that, for the most part, is over. The alarms are still going off, but the house isn't on fire anymore. This is where your power lies. It's not in erasing these parts of yourself. They are woven into the fabric of who you are. The goal is to gently take them back from the past and bring them into the present. It's to move from being on autopilot to becoming the conscious pilot of your own life. The most empowering question you can ask yourself about any of these traits is no longer, "What's wrong with me?" but, "Does this still serve the woman I am now?" Does that hypervigilance, which once scanned for danger, now serve as a wise intuition that guides you toward genuine people and away from toxic ones? Or does it keep you in a state of constant anxiety, seeing threats where there are none? Does that chameleon effect allow you to connect empathetically with different people while still holding on to your core self? Or does it leave you feeling lost and unknown? Does that extreme self-reliance speak to a healthy independence? Or does it isolate you from the deep, nourishing connection of true partnership? This is the work of integration. It's about honoring these survival skills for getting you here, and then lovingly updating them. It's about taking that critical inner voice and, over time, teaching it to speak with the compassion you would offer your dearest friend. It's about turning your radar for inauthenticity outward to protect your boundaries, rather than inward to critique your every move. You get to decide now. You get to keep the strength and gently release the suffering. You get to take these incredible, unusual traits and finally use them not just to survive, but to build a life that feels truly and authentically your own. This work of understanding yourself is a journey, not a destination. It unfolds one layer, one insight, and one moment of self-compassion at a time. Simply by watching this and recognizing these patterns within yourself, you have already taken the most massive and courageous first step. You are waking up from the fog. You are beginning to see the blueprint of your old survival manual, and that is the very power that allows you to start writing a new, freer story for yourself. Please hold that gently. This is hard work, and you are doing it. If this video resonated with you, if it made you feel seen, or even gave you a new word for something you've always felt, then you are not alone. This is a community of people learning to heal together. If you feel called to, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It might seem like a small gesture, but it genuinely helps this content reach other women who are sitting alone right now, wondering what's wrong with them, and it tells them they belong here, too. And I would be so honored if you'd share a bit of your story in the comments below. Tell me, which of these traits did you see in yourself the most? What was your biggest aha moment? Sharing our experiences is how we break the silence and the isolation. It's how we build a community of support and remind each other that healing is possible. This is just the beginning of our conversation. In my next video, we're going to get practical and talk about those first, gentle steps to quieting that critical inner voice, the one that tells you you're not good enough. It's one of the most powerful shifts we can make, and you won't want to miss it. Make sure you're subscribed so you get notified when it comes out. Thank you so much for your courage and for being here. Remember, your past may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. You are rewriting your story now, one brave chapter at a time.